Hi everyone, I'm Saumya, a software engineer and an educator. Welcome to module 2 of the interview series. In this module, I'll explain the important interview questions of Java and Kotlin. Yes, if you are going to give interview for Kotlin or let's say Android application developer role, then this will be very useful for you. If you are here to revise the concepts and you have your interview for internship or full-time job, anything, then feel free to switch the video to 1.5x so that you can quickly go through all the concepts, all the questions that I will be discussing in here. So the very first one, what are the different types of constructors available in Kotlin? We have to explain them with proper examples. So let me tell you, it's very simple and easy. There are mainly two types of constructors in Kotlin. Number one is primary constructor. Okay, number one is your primary constructor, and the second one is secondary constructor. Very easy to memorize as well. Primary constructor and secondary constructor. Okay, clear? Two constructors are here in Kotlin: primary constructor and secondary constructor. So primary constructor, it is a concise way to initialize a class, and secondary constructor, it allows you to put some additional initialization logic in it. Let me give you quick examples so that you can explain the same in your interview as well. So if we talk about the first one, that is your primary constructor. So if we talk about primary constructors, okay, primary constructors are most common in Kotlin. Secondary constructors are very commonly used. They are not so common. I mean, if anyone asks you like what is the most commonly used, then primary constructor are the one. And yes, it is part of the class header itself. Let's say you are creating a class person, okay, class person or developer, anything for that matter. You are creating a class. You know that a class keyword is used for creating the class, right? And this is the name of the class. So the primary constructor will be part of the class header itself. So in the parenthesis, let's say if you are giving two parameters, okay, parameter 1 will come here, parameter 2 right here. Okay, so let's say I want to create a readable parameter name of type string maybe, okay, and the other parameter maybe age, and I want this to be mutable. Like I used val here so that the name cannot be changed. I feel like if we have some stuff in database, if we have name of the user, it shouldn't be like mutable. So I used val and var age, and age will be usually it's mostly of type integer, right? So yes, I mean, after this you will have your class body, right? You will have your class body. So the block that you see here, which is surrounded by parenthesis, is your primary constructor. This entire block is your primary constructor. It's very simple, primary constructor and secondary constructor. So the primary constructor is part of the class header only. If you have some parameters to give, so it somewhere looks like function, no? I mean, we write func, then name of the function, and then we pass parameters. So in the similar way, in the same fashion, if you have like, let's say you have to pass stuff, pass details, data of users or anything to classes, then this is quite interesting concept. So let me put it here. This whole part right here is your primary constructor. Clear? I hope this much part is clear. You now know what is primary constructor and how it is declared, right? It is part of the class header only. You write class, name of the class, and inside parenthesis you pass the parameters which is useful for the class body. Maybe you will use the name, age here inside the class body. So yes, I mean, this is it about primary constructor. Let's move on now. Let's move on to the not so common constructor type, okay, and that is your secondary constructor. secondary constructor. So yes, I mean, if we talk about secondary constructor, the first thing you must know is these are not very common, okay. And secondly, I mean, a class, if you have a class, okay, if you have a class, so it can contain one or more secondary constructor, okay, one or more secondary constructor, and these are created using the constructor keyword, using the constructor keyword, okay. Secondary constructors are not that common, obviously, and the most common use of secondary constructor comes up when you need to extend a class, when you need to extend a class which provides multiple constructor, things become clear when we give examples. So one thing for sure here is, and that for secondary constructor, they are not like part of the class header as in primary constructor. For secondary constructor we use the keyword constructor, but you would be thinking, I mean, what the syntax is and how do we write it. So let me show you. If we have a class here, if we have class, and let's say name of the class is maybe person only, okay, person, and this is the starting point of the class, and this is the end parenthesis for the class. Then inside this I can have my secondary constructors, okay. I can create secondary constructor, and you know that we use the keyword constructor when we create secondary constructors. So I will write constructor, and after that I will simply pass on the parameters which I need in here. And the beauty of secondary constructor is you can have multiple constructors, you can have one or more, as I said here, you can have one or more secondary constructor. In primary it is like we have to pass stuff here only, right? So in this case you can have one or more. So if we go about like this, so this is your first constructor and this is your second constructor, not exactly constructor, secondary constructor. So here I can have like maybe one parameter of type string, okay, and or maybe instead of data let's write, let me put eraser here, so I can write here something more meaningful, name of type string, and here I can have name of type string, and I can also have one more data, okay, I can have one more data, maybe age of type int, okay. So I have a class person here, and inside the class person I have two constructors. The first one is this one, I mean we don't have as such a specifically name, but this one is having one parameter, right? And this is the second constructor, second secondary constructor, in which we are having two parameters, two variables, okay. And let's say that there is another class which want to maybe use this class, okay. So you can like extend the class as well. Let me show you how. Let me create a new page in here. So maybe if you have another class, okay, super, I mean I created a person, so maybe we can have something like super person, right, and starting and ending. So inside this, if you want to create a constructor which use the which first of all we need to extend this to person, then only we will be able to use the constructor of the person class. So if I want to use the constructor of the of this class, then maybe I want here data of type something, and then I will be like super is the keyword that you have to use here. That's it, that's all you have to do. if you have a class which extends a class, and this class has multiple secondary constructor, then in case if you want to use the constructor of this class, then super keyword is the go-to thing for you. Okay, and you can just use super keyword. So I hope it's pretty much clear. Primary constructors, okay, it is part of the class header. No need to overthink or mess up your mind with how it is declared or anything like that. It's very much like functions only. Class keyword, name of the class, and after that in the parenthesis you have to pass the parameter, and this part is your primary constructor. Secondary constructor, these are not so much common, but yes, if you have to use it, if you have to create it, you can have multiple secondary constructor inside the class. Inside one single class you can have multiple secondary constructors, and for creating secondary constructor you have to use the keyword constructor. Okay, all right, now let's move ahead. And yes, this is kind of summary that you already know. In Kotlin we have primary constructor and secondary constructor. I hope you will not forget this in future. Okay, all right, so how can you concatenate? This is second question. How can you concatenate two strings in Kotlin? So these are the, like, this is first of all the most common thing that you must know, what is a string concatenation. And after that we have these three methods. I'll explain each of these one by one, so don't worry about it. So if this is your string 1, this is your string 2, so after concatenation you should have something like this. Another interesting example, maybe if you have okay, let me pick pen. So if you have Android in here, this is a string 1, okay, this is string 1, and string 2 is developer. So after concatenation it will be Android developer, right? So basically string concatenation means you have to bring the strings which are available into one place, and the result will contain all these strings which you concatenated. Okay, and the sequence will be the same as you would have mentioned. Like if I'll say, if this is, let's say, str2 and this is a string 1, and I say str2 plus str1, then I will get developer Android instead of Android developer. So the sequence will be same as you want. Okay, perfect. So let's one by one discuss all these steps. 1, 2, 3. First is using a string interpolation, then using plus or the plus operator, and then using a string builder. Let's quickly summarize all of these. I'll get into the IDE, I'll get into the screen and show you quickly everything. Let me open up the IDE. So I'm using IntelliJ, okay, and you can use any IDE of your preference, of your choice. So I will click on empty project. I'll create an empty project here. Let's name it, we are learning stuff about strings in Kotlin, right? So let's write a string here, and I'll click on create. So once it is ready for me, I will maximize it, and here I will click on new, and I want to create a new Kotlin class or file, right? So I will create, maybe we can have a class of name whatever. I mean, we are learning a string concatenation, so let's name it concatenation. Okay, let's give it the name concatenation. Well, I don't want a class, I want a simple file, so let's keep it that way only. And inside this, okay, it's very small, let me make it big for you so it's visible. Okay, let's close all of these pop-ups. So I'll create a main function in here, and inside that let's learn all the ways of concatenating two strings in Kotlin. So string interpolation, right? Let me tell you what that is. Var keyword and then str1, that is string 1 is equal to so let's go about greetings. I mean, how do we greet people? We have like hello and then name of the person, right? So maybe we can have, instead of this, we can have a string name is Saumya, okay, and then we usually, if it was, let's say, Java, then we used to do greetings is equal to we used to say hello, and we used to do something like this. And after this we can use the variable name directly, right? So name, and then plus if you want to put some exclamation mark, something like that, and then print ln, and you will write here greetings. Okay, so this is how we used to do in Kotlin and Java mostly, like we used to write all this stuff. So let me tell you, if you have the name and you have this greeting template, hello, and the name of the user, then instead of so many double quotes, plus and all those stuff, you can remove all of these stuff and just put one double quote, and in here you can use the dollar symbol. Okay, the dollar symbol, and write name and then exclamation mark or whatsoever. If you run this, it will give you the same result as the other code where you used plus plus and multiple double quotes. So you can see here it is hello Saumya, right? Perfect. So that is a string interpolation. And apart from that, what else? I talked about the plus icon, plus operator as well, or plus function. So this was your string interpolation. Apologies for the spelling, for the typos. And if we talk about plus, so var str1 is equal to hello world. Okay, let's try to concatenate hello world, and we have world in here. So what should be the result? Result is equal to str1. It's so simple, the plus thingy, right? str2, that's it, right? And then you can print the result, print ln, and the result. Okay, and the result. All right, and after that we have a string builder as well. String builder. And the same way in here, if you want to use let's say str1 dot plus, then you can do that as well. Both are very easy and simple to use. Either you can directly use the plus, the symbol, or you can use the plus method. Okay, let's do it this way. Now let's do a string builder. So var string builder is equal to a string builder. I'll initialize it. Okay, all right. And after that let's say I have to kind of concatenate these two strings only. Okay, so for that, what I will do is string builder dot append the first string, that is string 1. Okay, then dot append, you can keep on appending the variables, the string that you want. And after that I want to print it, right? So var result 2, because result variable is already there, right? So result 2 is equal to string builder dot to string. You first need to convert it into a string, and then you can simply do print ln and result 2. That's it. Let's run it and see what are we getting. So hello Saumya, and after that we have hello world. The result of both of these are supposed to be same, right? Sounds good. Now what I will do is I'll get back to the iPad and we'll continue discussing the other important questions. Okay, so I hope the string concatenation part is clear to you. Okay, and if you have any doubts, just keep putting them in the comments, and if these are clear, then keep telling me that as well. So we just saw this string interpolation and the plus operator, and we saw the syntax of a string builder as well in Kotlin, right? Now what? Now let's move on to the next question, that is your what do you understand about companion object in the context of Kotlin? So companion objects are important in Kotlin. Okay, so how are they important? So in some languages like Java, we have the static keyword. Okay, we have the static keyword which is used to declare class members and utilize them without creating an object. without creating an object, okay, by simply calling them by their class name. In Kotlin there is nothing called as a static keyword, okay, there is nothing called as a static keyword. So if we want to achieve the functionality of a static member function, then we use the concept of companion objects in Kotlin. It is also referred as object extension, okay, object extension. So yes, I mean the companion object, let me show you how do we create it. Syntax is very simple and straightforward. A new page is here. So it is like this. Let's say you have a class, okay, you have a class and then name of the class, opening and ending. Then you can create a companion object simply this way. The keyword companion object will be used. After this, it's not mandatory, but you can give the name of the object, okay, you can give the name of the object and the code will come here. So companion object, in short it is kind of doing the responsibilities, it is playing the role of a static keyword here in Kotlin. A static we used to have in Java. If you have used Java, if you know Java, a static keyword you would be knowing. So companion object is playing the role of a static here in Kotlin. Perfect. Moving ahead, yes, this is this is same as what I just wrote. If this is the class name, let's say, and this is extending some app compat activity class. So inside companion object you have the const val letter and then other stuff are there. This is the syntax. The companion object, to create companion object you have to use the keyword, companion object. All right, let's move ahead. Explain about the when keyword. So the when keyword in Kotlin is used to substitute the switch operator in Java. Okay, so in Java we used to have switch and this was the syntax of switch. So switch and one kind of condition here, and then let's say if the value here is 1, 2 or 3, anything like that. So we'll have cases like case 1, case 2, and this will be default case. If the value here matches with either of these cases, then we used to run that piece of code, right? So basically when we'll do the same thing in Kotlin. So when a certain condition is met, when a certain condition is met, a specific block of code must be run, right? So it is same like when a certain condition is met, then we used to run a certain piece of block, a specific block of code, right? So inside the when expression as well, like this will be your when expression. So inside the when expression, it compare all of the branches one by one until a match is discovered. So when this, let's say we have 3 here, so if any condition matches here, then we will like find the first match and then it will proceed to the running that particular code block. All right, so yes, after finding the first match, it proceeds to the conclusion of the when block and then executes the code immediately following the when block. We do not need a break statement here, like in switch we used to have break statements, right, to break the execution of the code. But here in case of when, we don't need, no break statement is needed. We don't need break statement at the end of each case, unlike switch cases in Java or in any other programming language. So basically when in Kotlin will do the same thing as switch in Java or any other programming language for that matter, right? Perfect. What is the equivalent of Java static methods in Kotlin? So we just saw that for static in Kotlin we have companion object, but we have other stuff as well. So companion object is first, then package level functions, and then we have objects, okay, and then we have object. So moving ahead, as in Java, can we use the new keyword to instantiate a class object in Kotlin? So the answer is here no. In Kotlin we don't have to use the new keyword to instantiate a class object. If you want to instantiate a class object, you can simply do something like var and then maybe the variable name and just do class name. I mean, just call the class, okay, class name. That's it. No need to use the new keyword. Perfect. How to create a singleton class in Kotlin. Now this is very important and interesting. Singleton class in Kotlin. So a singleton class, first let's understand what it is. So it is a class that is defined in such a way that only one instance of the class can be created and is used where we need only one instance of the class, like maybe in database connections or logging, such are the application of it. So singleton, the name is also self-explanatory, singleton, right? So only one instance can be created for singleton classes. And to create a singleton class, you need to use the object keyword. So object and the name of the class. However you go about it, like however you create the class, you can do that. But the most important thing here is you have to use the object keyword, okay? Alright, how to check if Lateinit variable has been initialized or not initialized. So it's pretty easy and interesting. I already taught you in the last module what is Lateinit variable, right? So later on, if you have to check if it has been initialized or not, then all you have to do is use is initialized method, okay? You have to use the is initialized method. For example, let me show you. So maybe if you have a class, okay, you have a class person here, and then you have a Lateinit variable, Lateinit var name of type string, okay? Then inside your function, let's say you have a function named xyz, and inside this you want to check like if it is initialized or not, then all you have to do is you have to, let's say I want to print it, so print ln name dot is initialized. So it will return true if it has been initialized, otherwise it will return false, right? Otherwise it will return false. What to understand by sealed classes in Kotlin? So like Kotlin introduces a very crucial and new form of classes that is not seen in Java, and that is your sealed classes. These are like referenced as sealed classes. The name is also quite unique, right? So as the name implies, it adhere to constrained or bounded classes, right? A sealed class, like sealed means something which is bounded. So sealed class is the one that has a set of subclasses, when it is known ahead of time that a type will conform to one of the subclass type, it is employed. I mean, it's a bit tough to understand, but let me make it simple for you. So 2-3 important properties of sealed class include: number 1, it is there to ensure type safety. Now you will ask me, what is type safety, right? So type safety, that is, the compiler will validate types during compilation and throw an exception if a wrong type has been assigned to a variable. That is type safety. It is like a fundamental thing in programming. So sealed classes are there to ensure type safety, okay, so that there are less errors, crashes, etc. because of this issue. And apart from that, another interesting thing to note about sealed classes is by default the constructors in sealed classes are private. And if you want to understand the syntax of sealed classes, so talking about the syntax of sealed classes, we just have to put an extra keyword in like while creating the class name. So if we have class and then name of the class is, let's say, person, So we will put just one extra keyword, and that is your sealed. So that will make sure that the class is a sealed class. Not very commonly used, but yes, it's good to know these important terms and keywords in Kotlin. I hope this detailed module was helpful for you. If yes, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to Scalar's YouTube channel for more such insightful content.